I'm not crazy, right? Stalking and harassing others online for over a decade and creating a web of lies and distrust among my friends for a better part of my adult life.
Of course not, Shannon. You're perfect to say.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tom Dark channel. I'm your host, Tom Dark, and today we will be talking about Creepshow art. Since so many other people have been talking about her again and again and again,
it's been a week since my last video about Creepshow art.
Shannon, Creepshow art. Shannon from Creepshow art.
why not throw my hat into the milking ring to give my thoughts on it? As if anyone was actually asking. They weren't, by the way, just to let you know they were not asking. Creepshow art is, or was, an art commentary YouTuber, something like that. She would make videos where instead of using gameplay, like I do, she would speak over footage of herself or someone else drawing a picture and then screen record it. She is a part of a genre that kind of exploded in the last few years, which was very derivative of commentary stuff in a way, but instead of talking about cringy kids or making fun of furries or talking about YouTube drama news, she would talk about a lot of social justice type stuff. What this really means is that when someone would like draw a black guy or something in a way that she perceived as stereotyping, she would make a video and pretend to care.
Now, if you don't know who Rory is and have never heard of them, please just consider maybe not watching the rest of this video. Instead, you can take a bubble bath or drink some water or literally do anything else besides watching the rest of this video that goes over their terrible art that doesn't just border on racist caricatures and fetishizing LGBT characters, but full on, full out goes dick deep into doing all of that. All of that negative shit that I just mentioned, yeah, it does that hard.
So yeah, I mean, you guys get the idea. She made a lot of videos about social justice type topics, and she was probably one of the biggest within this little genre, right? She was getting a ton of views and probably also making a ton of money from these endeavors. She had a lot of connections with a lot of different people like D'Angelo Wallace and Loey Lane, Ready to Glare. All of these are pretty big names. They're pretty recognizable channels you've probably heard of if you watch my content, albeit for varying reasons. You know, you may not like all of them, but you definitely have at least heard of them. So everything was going well for Creepshow on YouTube, and believe it or not, she was kind of friendly with some of my pals like Augie RFC and Nicholas Diorio. She used to play Among Us on stream with them, which is pretty funny looking back, considering that she was actually really good at the game. And if you know anything about Among Us, then you know that the better a liar you are, the better you are at trickery, the better you are at creating deception, then the better you will do at that game. This will become relevant later, as you can imagine. Now, this is the part of the video where I get to brag about not liking her before all of that, okay? Because I never liked Creepshow art. I thought her videos were boring and unwatchable. I thought her voice was insufferable to listen to.
So, if you don't know who they are, just do something else, maybe. But for the rest of us who know what the Heckle-Stiltskin I am talking about and have seen,
and I thought that her complete rage at the things she talked about seemed kind of ridiculous. It seemed kind of manufactured even. There's nothing wrong with being upset at a topic. There's nothing wrong with being passionate and having emotions. But Creepshow would make these barely researched videos where she didn't say anything new or interesting, would barely even cite sources for what she was talking about, and then just scream like, "This person is bad!" And she would hardly even explain why. Like, do you even know why this person is bad, Creepshow, or are you just doing this cringe meme performatively? Because you know that it's what your audience of insane sycophants like to watch. A lot of her videos were her acting like there was someone who was like an objectively terrible human being, when in reality they were ignorant at worst, and at best they were someone who just personally slighted Shannon or Creepshow, and that was enough for her to like blast them on her YouTube channel over basically nothing. So yeah, her channel really sucked. Anyway, eventually a few people picked up on the fact that she was extremely duplicitous in nature and kind of a lying freak. Probably the best person to do a video on this before any of the actual drama with her was Just Stop, who makes some good videos about animation related stuff right now, but at the time he was doing a lot of videos about commentary topics. One of the people he decided to cover at this time was Creepshow, where he levied some pretty good criticisms towards Creepshow and pointed out that she was making a lot of claims about another creator, Hopeless Peaches, with little to no evidence.
She says that Peach's actions in the entire thing were, quote, high-key racist. You heard me right. That isn't hyperbole in the slightest. Take a look.
But I get it. She's your friend. But literally people telling her, hey, the thing you did is bad in regards to lying about various people and situations in order to appear like an uwu victim? Yeah, that's stupid. And high-key a bit racist when we get into what you try to pull with Kai and Omnia. I mean, you have to be the white girl victim to the angry black woman and black man, right? But I'm not there yet.
Shannon really was one of the most insufferable kind of, not like the other girls pick-me type, who on one hand is pretending to be morally virtuous and above everyone else, but on the other is engaging in much worse than anything she criticized anyone else for. Little did everyone realize that the extent of this was much more hilarious and honestly kind of evil than anyone anticipated. Shannon was outed as a user of Lolcow. Lol, what a cow!
Creepshow recently was outed by the administrators of a site called Lolcow.forum. Basically think of it like a female majority 4chan, for a whole lot of behavior I'll briefly get into later.
And as Just Stop already explained, Lolcow is an offshoot of 4chan, but is somewhat more centered around discussing various cows on the internet. I believe it was originally an offshoot of the CGL board of 4chan, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. Lolcow is basically like the same cozy web design that 4chan has, but it's only geared towards lolcows. Many of these lolcows are also on the tea or gossip side of things, which is a nice way of saying that women and gay people are invested in these stories. But mostly just women, to be honest. It's also a site where the culture is fine with the use of slurs and derogatory terms for basically any group of people, and that, in particular, is something that directly went against everything Shannon stood for in her videos. In her videos, she was endorsing this modern, like, PC culture where everyone's safe and everyone's nice to everyone and no one gets to hurt anyone, and if you use a slur in any context, you should burn in hell! Shannon has been posting on Lolcow, a gossip site about influencers, since at least 2018. She was posting anonymously, but admins outed her as punishment for pretending to own her fans and haters. And this tweet right here is really what brought all of this stuff to the forefront of the YouTube community, because it showed some of the more insane things Shannon had been doing on Lolcow. When her sister was in the ICU, Shannon posted her social media to Lolcow, trying to have her attacked for being too much of a social justice warrior. She posted insults towards her friends Ready to Glare, D'Angelo Wallace, and Edwin's Generation. She called people fat, ugly, and retarded. Sounds like she should join the group chat, boys. So on one hand, she was talking in her videos about how racism is bad and homophobia needs to be stopped, okay? Like, it needs to be stopped right now, guys. We need to put an immediate end to this. Meanwhile, in her free time, she was going on this forum to talk shit on all of her friends, her own sister, and then schizo post about herself as well. Most of her posts are either about her own online persona and content, or about her drama with Hopeless Peaches and Toby. She calls Peaches a leech who sucks Creepshow's dick, and Toby Shannon 2.0. There are too many posts to even screenshot, but the link is at the end of the thread. This is all stuff many of you have already heard, but seeing it here again is truly something else, just looking back on everything in the aftermath. Because a year and a half ago, Creepshow art was huge in this community, and people, like, actually feared her, right? She was someone to watch out for and not piss off, because if you do, she was gonna make some terrible video, like ranting about how you're panphobic or something like that, you know? Personally, if I was in her position where I was shit-talking all of my friends, I would not also walk this super offensive line on YouTube where I go after a bunch of people, because at that point, she's just making so many enemies and making so many people mad at her. If she gets caught doing this awful shit, then no one's gonna have any reason to defend her or even watch her. I mean, she basically outright lied about Hopeless Peaches during that entire event. She tried to destroy her reputation over a friendship going poorly.
This was the 19th of February. Bearing in mind, only a couple weeks prior, the 3rd of February, Shannon was stating in a video that I deserved what I was getting and how what happened was fair, all while she was responding to a document detailing how ableist and disgusting the suicide baiting claims against me were. The claims she promoted. Nowhere in that video did she even remotely say the claims about my suicide attempt were wrong or apologize for collaborating with and promoting the video stating this. Hell, she was even hearting comments and writing her own defense of such claims.
And then, at the same time, the few allies she did have, she was completely trash-talking on some weird forum. Ultimately, that's part of why her channel fell so hard. In the end, there was no one to defend her, because what can you really defend? If you guys found out that I posted on some weird drama forum, which I do, it wouldn't be surprising because I talk about it in videos. But, for Shannon, it looks so bad because she pretended to be someone else entirely in her videos, and to everyone else online. On June 3rd, an admin from the Lolcow forum highlighted a list of posts they claimed to have been created by Creepshow art. also known as Shannon, on her own criticism thread. The admin would go on to explain that they believe her IP addresses accurately reflect her locations and device models she has been known to use. They claim that she had shared her sister's social media to deflect criticism, had promoted her own Patreon and YouTube membership, and made posts essentially harassing herself. The admins also highlight posts that contain the words fag and tranny in derogatory ways. Man, the jokes during the Creepshow art bit felt really weird to be done in the middle of narrating the events of a serious situation. Like, if it was petty drama, sure, go ahead. But this involves years long of online stalking. Don't even let me get started on the slurs being said like nothing else by a person who can't claim even a single bit of them. Should have given a less serious part to Turkey Tom, to be honest. I don't know, I thought it was kind of boss, kind of beast even that they let me read that part, but hey, maybe that's just me. All of this was only made much worse for Shannon when Emily Artful posted a really long video talking about Shannon, talking about her own experience with her. I guess Shannon is a stalker or something. I'm gonna be honest, like sometimes I do watch long videos and podcasts, sometimes I watch really long stuff on YouTube, but there is no way I'm gonna watch all of this. There's just no way. Anyway, after the rest of the art community and eventually the commentary community also piled onto Creepshow and pissed and shitted and absolutely creamed all over her grave to the point that I think the combination of liquids actually became acidic and melted Creepshow's corpse because, well, it went really poorly for her. Proportional to her channel size, I think she lost the most amount of subscribers ever. Like, she had 600k, and I think she lost 300,000 subscribers, which is like half of her sub count, obviously. And that's pretty insane. Like, this is an insane amount of subscribers to lose. So she knew that she was dead, alright? And she ran, hiding like she's Anne. Until she came back from the grave, okay? She came back to defend her honor in a 2.5 hour long video titled The Lies of Emily Artful, with evidence. And I did actually watch this video because I wanted to get a good picture of what was going on here and really do my due diligence on the topic. Yeah, just kidding. I didn't watch any of that shit. But I did watch Nicholas Diorio's video about this video, which not only summarized the important stuff, but also revealed an old draft of the script for that video, in which Shannon wrote some really unhinged and honestly kind of funny shit. And I think Nick did a great job with that video. I liked it a lot, and I would highly recommend anyone checking it out.
I want to thank absolutely no one. Tipster is a diseased hack who literally reached out to me for content that he disguised as an "I'm here if you need to talk." That much is obvious given how hard his dick got when he realized he could monetize my response to him privately.
I think part of Creepshow that not a lot of people talk about is the fact that, you know, she was not the only person from that community to go down around this time. Someone she worked with from time to time, prison mate Luke, also went down with the ship, so to speak. I think the difference, however, between her and Luke is that she was actually malicious. She was actually kind of evil, I guess, right? Like, she was just a really shitty human being who was doing things intentionally to hurt people. I'm someone who was very critical of Luke, and I think probably one of the first larger channels actually to really shit on him like a year ago was me. And this was during a time when everyone was like, guys, why are you going in on Luke so hard? Tom, you're really going after Luke way too hard. I think he doesn't deserve this. And I hated his videos so much. Like, not only were they poorly researched, not only were they dumb and inaccurate and filled with annoying leaps of logic, but he was just boring. He was genuinely a boring motherfucker. And that I could never forgive. Luke's channel did not explode in quite a fantastical way when compared to Creepshow. Instead, through a bunch of videos where he talked about serious allegations, he basically was called out for not doing enough care with them. He would criticize some people for victim blaming while simultaneously victim blaming in other cases. And overall, he was someone who was trying to talk about serious situations on YouTube consistently because it was profitable at the time. And it's something that a lot of people want to hear about, you know, allegations, right? And it's totally fine to talk about allegations. I think the main issue with it is that when you're reporting on that kind of stuff, you kind of feel pressured to give a definitive stance one way or the other, when in reality, all you can really do is give the most neutral take possible. Because with developing stories like that, if you're shown to be wrong in the long run, your videos are so quickly outdated, right? If you make a video on day one about how person A is a piece of shit, and the next day they get proven to not be a piece of shit, then you have to make a video correcting everything else. And you can't even pretend like you didn't think they were a piece of shit and you look like a complete idiot. And that really was part of the issue Luke got into. He was talking about these super serious situations on YouTube without taking the proper care to really research it. But despite that, despite the fact that Luke mishandled so many situations and honestly either intentionally or unintentionally definitely misinterpreted a lot of things, which is hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell if someone is doing something directly to be a bad person, or if they're just doing it because they're ignorant, or they don't know the facts of the situation, you know? That being said, I personally would say that I don't think Luke was a terrible guy. I think he was just a terribly stupid guy. And the difference here between prison mate Luke, right, and Creepshow Art is that I think if prison mate Luke ever got out of prison and decided to make videos again, if they were better, he could probably come back and succeed. But Creepshow Art can't. Literally everyone hates her now. She made a career based solely off of criticizing the morality of others, whereas other commentators will also rely on their personality or sense of humor and simply use criticism as a vehicle to get attention to their channel and build an audience. Creepshow was purely interested in making money off of putting down others, and that would have been fine. It was fine for a while, until everyone realized that her words were completely hollow. It was all a performance because she knew what her audience wanted to hear. She gave it to them, and once they found out she was the exact same person she would make a video on, the exact same person she would spit into her microphone about just a few months prior, it was all over. Creepshow Art is never coming back, and honestly, YouTube is probably better off without her.
And that, to me, is so fucking weird. You are not going to be finding any time when I'm friends with someone where I talk shit on them like this, where I even talk weirdly about them like
Made a brave move.
Oh no!
Oh no! They're stealing the tire fire!
That's all I really got to say about Creepshow. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, then be sure to leave a dislike on the video. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts on all of this, and I will see you all, the Tom Darkies, in the next video. Bye!